The 1996 UEFA European Football Championship, commonly referred to as Euro 96, was the 10th UEFA European Football Championship, a quadrennial football tournament contested by European nations. It took place in England from 8 to June 30, 1996. It was the first European Championship to feature 16 finalists, following UEFA's decision to expand the tournament from 8 teams. Games were staged in 8 cities and, although not all games were sold out, the tournament holds the European Championship's second highest aggregate attendance and average per game for the 16-team format, surpassed by Euro 2012. Germany won the tournament, beating the Czech Republic to a Euro 1 in the final with a golden goal during extra time. This was the first major competition to be decided using this method. This was Germany's first major title won while a unified nation. Bid process. At the time of the bid process, the event was still not confirmed to include 16 teams. Instead, the bids were largely prepared as if hosting an 8-team tournament, meaning only 4 venues were due to be required. All candidates had to submit their plans by December 10, 1991. The hosting of the event was contested by 5 bids: Austria, England, Greece, the Netherlands and Portugal. The English bid was selected by the UEFA Executive Committee at a meeting in Lisbon on May 5, 1992. In the year preceding the decision, the English FA had dropped out of their plans to also bid for the 1998 World Cup in order to gain the support of other UEFA members who were to bid for that event. Summary: First round, the hosts, England, drew 1-1 with Switzerland in the opening match of Group A when Alan Shearer's 23rd-minute goal was equalled by a late Gibraltar one-quarter Riquelme's penalty kick. England defeated rival Scotland 2-0 in their next game, and then produced one of their finest performances ever with a 4-1 win over the Netherlands. Patrick Kluivert's late goal for the Netherlands secured his team second place in the group and ensured that Scotland would exit another major competition on goal difference. Group B had Western European France and Spain, along with Balkan World Cup participants Romania and Bulgaria. France and Spain dominated the group, with France avenging Bulgaria for the 1994 qualification debacle, and World Cup quarter-finalists Romania going home, with no points and only 1 goal scored. Groups C and D saw the Czech Republic and Croatia, whose national teams had only recently come into existence, qualify for the knockout stages. The Czechs lost to Germany, the eventual group winners, in their opener, but then defeated Italy and drew with Russia. Italy's defeat meant they had to beat Germany in their final game to progress, but the World Cup finalists could only manage a 0-0 draw and were eliminated. In Group D, Croatia qualified for the quarter-finals, with wins over Turkey and Denmark. The loss to the Croats ultimately sent the Danes, the surprise champions of 1992, home. Turkey became the first team since the introduction of a group stage to be eliminated without gaining a point or scoring a goal. The other 3 quarter-finalists were Portugal, Spain, and a France team featuring a young Zinedine Zidane. Quarter-finals and semi-finals, the knockout stages were characterized by negative, defensive play. As a result, only 9 goals were scored in the 7 games and 4 of the matches were decided on penalties. The first quarter-final between the hosts and Spain ended goalless, after Spain had 2 goals disallowed and 2 claims for a penalty denied. The English progressed for a Euro 2 on spot kicks. France and Netherlands also played out a 0-0 draw, with France winning the penalty shootout 5-4. Ja one-quarter Gen Klinsmann opened the scoring for Germany in their match against Croatia. A goal from Davor Angstrom-Jurka evened the score after 51 minutes, before Matthias Sammer of Germany scored 8 minutes later, and the game ended 2-1 to Germany. Czech Republic progressed after beating Portugal 1-0. The first semi-final, featuring France and Czech Republic, resulted in another 0-0 draw and penalties. Reynal Pedros was the one player to miss in the shootout, as Czech Republic won the penalty shootout 6-5. The other semi-final was a repeat of the 1990 World Cup semi-final between Germany and England. Alan Shearer headed in, after 3 minutes to give his side the lead, but Stefan Kuntz evened the score less than 15 minutes later, and the score remained 1-1 after 90 minutes. In extra time, Paul Gascoigne came very close to scoring a golden goal, but fractionally missed a cross from Shearer in front of the empty goal. Darren Anderton hit the post, and Kuntz had a goal disallowed for pushing. Neither team was able to find a second goal. In penalties, both sides scored their first 5 kicks, but in the 6th round, Gareth Southgate had his penalty saved, allowing Andreas Maher-Paragraph-Lair to score the winning goal. Final. The final saw the Czech Republic hoping to repeat Euro 1976 when Czechoslovakia defeated West Germany. The Germans were aiming to win their 3rd European Championship. Patrick Berger scored from a penalty in 59th minute to put the Czechs ahead. German substitute Oliver Bierhoff then scored to make it 1-1. 5 minutes into extra time, Bierhoff's shot was mishandled by Czech goalkeeper Kauber and the ball ended up in the back of the net for the first golden goal in the history of the competition. Germany were European champions again, the first time as a unified country. Qualification. On November 30, 1992, UEFA formally decided to expand the tournament to 16 teams. UEFA cited the increased number of international teams following the recent breakup of the Soviet Union and of Yugoslavia, a Euro rising from 33 UEFA members in 1988 to 48 by 1994. A Euro was a driving factor behind the expansion. 47 teams ultimately entered to compete for the 15 remaining places in the finals, alongside hosts England. The draw for the qualifying competition took place in Manchester on January 22, 1994. The teams were divided into 8 groups, each containing either 6 or 5 teams. The qualifying process began in April 1994 and concluded in December 1995. At the conclusion of the qualifying group stage in November 1994, the 8 group winners qualified automatically, along with the 6 highest-ranked second-placed teams. The remaining 2 second-placed teams, the Netherlands and the Republic of Ireland, contested a one-off playoff match in England to decide the final qualifier. Qualified teams. The following 16 teams qualified for the finals. With the extended format, 3 teams were able to qualify for their first European Championship: Bulgaria, Switzerland and Turkey. Croatia and Russia competed for the first time in their own right since the dissolution of Yugoslavia and the Soviet Union. 7 of the 8 participants at the previous tournament in 1992 were again present, with only Sweden despite also having finished 3rd in the World Cup 2 years earlier missing out. Final draw. The draw for the final tournament took place on December 17, 1995 at the International Convention Centre in Birmingham. Only 4 teams were seeded: England, Denmark, Spain and Germany. The remaining 12 teams were all unseeded and could be drawn in any group. In the draw procedure, the unseeded teams were drawn one by one into each of the 4 groups before finally the 4 seeds were then drawn out. While it was decreed in advance that England's group would be Group A, the remaining 3 groups were then drawn out a letter to decide the name of their group, and therefore determine what venues they would play at. The balls were drawn by UEFA figures Gerard Aina and Lennart Johansson. Venues. Since the implementation of the Taylor Report in 1990, following the 1989 Hillsborough Stadium disaster, England now had enough all-seater stadia of sufficient capacity to hold an expanded tournament due to the necessary stadium refurbishment by its leading clubs. The stadium capacities listed in the table are for the time of the tournament. Broadcasting. Match ball. A custom version of the Adidas Q-Stra, the Q-Stra Europa, was the official match ball of the championships. The design of the ball included a reworking of the England badge, and was the first coloured ball in a major footballing tournament. Match officials, 4th officials, results. Group stage, the teams finishing in the top 2 positions in each of the 4 groups progressed to the quarter-finals, while the bottom 2 teams in each group were eliminated from the tournament. For the first time at a European Championship, 3 points were awarded for a win, with 1 for a draw and none for a defeat. If 2 or more teams were equal on points on completion of the group matches, The following criteria were applied to determine the rankings: higher number of points obtained in the matches played between the teams in question. Superior goal difference resulting from the matches played between the teams in question. Higher number of goals scored in the matches played between the teams in question. If, after having applied criteria 1 to 3 to more than two teams still have an equal ranking, criteria 1 to 3 are reapplied exclusively to the matches between the two teams in question to determine the final rankings of the two teams. If this procedure does not lead to a decision, criteria 5 to 9 apply in the order given. Superior goal difference in all group matches. Higher number of goals scored in all group matches. Position using UEFA's national team coefficient ranking system calculated using average points per game from the Euro 1992 qualifying stage and final tournament, the 1994 World Cup qualifying stage and final tournament and the Euro 1996 qualifying stage. Fair play conduct of the teams. Drawing of lots. Group A. Group B. Group C. Group D. Knockout stage. The knockout stage was a single elimination tournament involving the 8 teams that qualified from the group stage of the tournament. There were 3 rounds of matches, with each round eliminating half of the teams entering that round, culminating in the final to decide the champions. Any game in the knockout stage that was undecided by the end of the regular 90 minutes, was followed by up to 30 minutes of extra time. For the first time in a major football competition, the golden goal system was applied, whereby the match would immediately end up on either team scoring during the extra time period with the goal-scoring team becoming the winner. If scores were still level after 30 minutes extra time, there would be a penalty shootout to determine the winner. All times are Central European Time. Quarterfinals. Semifinals. Final. Statistics: goal scorers, 5 goals, Alan Shearer, 3 goals, 2 goals, 1 goal, own goal, Lyuboslav Penov. Awards: Team of the Tournament, Golden Boot. Alan Shearer was awarded the Golden Boot Award, after scoring 5 goals in the group stage and in the semi-finals against Germany. Alan Shearer, UEFA Player of the Tournament. Matthias Sammer, fastest goal, 2 minutes and 14 seconds, Alan Shearer, average goals, 2.06 goals per game. Marketing, slogan and theme songs. The competition slogan was "Football Comes Home," reflecting that the sport's rules were first standardized in the United Kingdom. UEFA President Lennart Johansson had said that the organization had felt it time to bring the event back to the motherland of football. The slogan was incorporated into the competition's most popular song, Three Lions, recorded by comedians Frank Skinner and David Baddiel with the Lightning Seeds. Skinner and Baddiel were then strongly connected with football owing to their BBC show Fantasy Football League. Released as a single, the song topped the UK singles chart for a total of 3 weeks. It was promoted by a video featuring the England squad. The song was prominently sung by England fans during all their games, and was also chanted by the German team upon parading the trophy in Berlin after the tournament. It was even referenced by future Prime Minister Tony Blair in an address at the 1996 Labour Party conference with the line, 17 years of hurt, never stopped us dreaming, Labour's coming home. Despite Three Lions being the song most strongly connected with the tournament, its official song was instead We're in This Together by Simply Red. The song was performed at the tournament's opening ceremony. Merchandise and mascots. The British Royal Mint issued a commemorative £2 coin in 1996, which featured a representation of a football, 1996 in the centre, and 16 small rings representing the 16 competing teams. Further special coins were only issued in the Isle of Man and Gibraltar. The official mascot, Go Goliath, was designed in a similar fashion to the original World Cup mascot from the 1966 World Cup. Go Goliath comprised a lion, the image on the English team crest, dressed in an England football strip and football boots whilst holding a football under his right arm. Sponsorship, Controversies, terrorist attack. A terrorist attack took place in Manchester on June 15, one day before the group stage match between Germany and Russia was due to take place in the same city. The detonation of a van bomb in the city centre injured 212 people and caused an estimated £700 million worth of damage. 4 days after the blast, the Provisional Irish Republican Army issued a statement in which it claimed responsibility, but regretted causing injury to civilians. The Manchester bombing was the first and so far only major terrorist attack in the host city of an ongoing UEFA European Championship. The scheduled match at Old Trafford on the day following the bombing went ahead as planned after the stadium had been heavily guarded overnight and carefully searched. The game, in which Germany defeated Russia 3-0, was watched by a near-capacity crowd of 50,700. Disorder. After England's defeat to Germany in the semi-finals, a large-scale riot took place in Trafalgar Square and the surrounding area. Further outbreaks of trouble occurred in the streets of several other towns. The police, German-made cars were targeted, with damage also caused to various other properties. A Russian student was stabbed in Brighton after attackers mistook him for being German. Despite this outbreak, the tournament overall was free of hooliganism, helping rehabilitate England's reputation after their fans' conduct during the previous decades. UEFA's awarding of the tournament to England was in itself a further step in bringing back the country back fully into the international fold, coming soon after their decision in 1990 to readmit English clubs back into UEFA competitions after the indefinite ban issued to them following the Heysel Stadium disaster in 1985. See also, UEFA Euro 1996 schedule, references. External links. UEFA Euro 1996 at uefa.com